It had been a really long time since I'd pick up a comic book. I remember walking through this bookstore, and on one of the racks, I see an issue of Green Lantern. It's an issue where I remember most of the characters on the cover were, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, most of the members of the Justice League, and they'd all been beaten. And standing on top of them is Sinestro holding a yellow lantern. It's part 8 of some giant series that I had not read anything about. So I pick it up and I go through some of the pages, and I needed to buy it. I read it while I was in the bookstore, and then I went back and I got the other issues that were there, as many of the issues as I could to get up to date on the story. And then before I know it, I'm reading every single issue that I can find of Green Lantern. And I remember there's just this majesty, this tapestry to that storyline. And I realized that this has very quickly become one of my favorite characters. And I read the entirety of everything that was put out that was Green Lantern. All because of one issue that I picked up at random at a bookstore. This is the Layman's Guide to the Multiverse. Hello and welcome to Layman's Guide to the Multiverse, where we dive between the panels and break through the fourth wall to answer all of your comic book inquiries. I'm Paulo, and as always, I'm being joined by Ed,
Hey, how's it going?
Doug,
Hey, hey.
and as usual, we have Matt, who's going to ask us all of your questions.
Hi.
Hey, how's
God.
it going?
All right, guys. So we're doing it. Green Lantern. What do you
Ooh,
got?
what do you got?
Well,
Nothing.
I have to start
What do you?
premising. I have to premise this episode off by saying this is a character that's very, very near and dear to me. Um, it's the character that got me back into comic books after spending a lot of my kind of childhood not reading comics. Um, as you guys heard me in the intro, I just kind of went on a speech about how I found it by accident, and it's like I will do my best to get you to want to read this book.
Yeah, no. Then that run is one of those things that, like, I remember us back in college. I mean, I couldn't shut up about a lot of the stuff that was happening at the time. Because this was what, late 2006, early 2007.
No, it was earlier. It was
Was it?
2004.
No, no, no. Well, no. Rebirth was 2004. But I mean,
Right,
you
right,
and
you're
I were
right.
talking.
Rebirth was 2000. Yeah, yeah. Rebirth was 2004. But let like we're getting off topic. We're starting off a little too soon. But Matt, what do you have the question? You know nothing about Green Lantern, right?
No, nothing. You know what? I only know about Green Lantern because I used to go to a bunch of wrestling events, and there's this one guy that always wear a Green Lantern shirt. I'm like, what the heck is that logo? So I don't even know. Uh, I mean, let's start from the top, man. What exactly is a Green Lantern in the first place? I mean, I see them all the time at Walmart. They don't seem all that special.
Well, what a Green Lantern is like you're familiar with like a light source is. It's like that, but it's green.
If only it were that. If only it were that simple. All right. So, are you a big sci-fi fan or no?
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right. So, a Green Lantern is in DC Comics considered the one of the most powerful weapons in the universe. And it is a green ring that is connected to a central power battery that is located in the center of the galaxy in a planet called Oa.
Or the
And the
universe, excuse you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the center of the universe. And what it does is it pretty much grants the person who's wielding it the ability to create light constructs of anything that they can imagine, as long as they have enough willpower to create it.
No, that's all. That's all it does. That's
Oh,
all it is.
that's
That's
all.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
it.
just it's
that's
just a, it's a magic ring that grants all your wishes. That's all.
it.
Yeah, I mean, more or less, like you can create just about anything with the ring. It's just you have to be able to have enough willpower to do it.
You have
Yeah,
to will whatever it is into existence.
it's true, and it's sound. You're wondering like what exactly do you mean by willpower? One of the ways that it's often described is sort of like a type of focus and um uh how was it? It's this Green Arrow or something I think once put on the
Yes.
ring and said it felt like uh he was no Kyle was early in one of the Green Lantern's careers he was saying that using the ring felt like he had was I am messing this up entirely. I'm so sorry.
I know exactly what scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the middle of Rebirth, and we'll actually get there.
Yeah.
Because Green Arrow, if you're not familiar with it, really I can't say has nothing to do with Green Lantern because Green
They
Arrow
do
and
share
one
a
of the
color.
Green Lanterns are very good friends. But it's a scene to show you just like what a regular guy would need to do anything with this ring.
Hmm. So,
The
I
the
mean, you got to be a pretty strong-willed person, I would assume, if you need the
Exactly.
ability to
Yes.
will things. Okay.
in
So if you
fact,
put it on me or you, it probably won't work out too good.
well, one of the main things that happens is so the ring chooses the wielder. So there's the ring itself is pretty much just like a alien supercomputer that picks its wielder based on the ability to overcome great fear,
Hmm.
and that in turn kind of translate into the ability to actually wield the ring itself. So they do say like the ring itself, the constructs, the strength of the constructs are based on how like your own feelings, your own kind of ability to gather your feelings
Your
within
own
yourself.
will.
Yeah, your will pretty much. Exactly.
Hmm.
The
And it
stronger
is
willed you
really
are,
like
the better your constructs are.
you can create anything from like shields, swords, guns, um,
Giant fists,
giant
Mecha
aircrafts,
fists,
robots.
uh,
mecha robots,
entire
anything.
cities.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. But
we're
I mean, to your point though, Paula. So you were mentioning before, it's like a supercomputer of sorts. So it's not magical. It's technical.
so see that's the interesting part about that. So the first Green Lantern in DC continuity is actually a magical ring.
Yes,
It was wielded by a man called Alan Scott. I think what was the year? 1940,
1940,
1940.
1941, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. It was
Like,
1941.
yeah, Superman
And
only predates him by like a couple years.
yeah, he's actually almost as old as Superman.
Yes,
So he's been around forever, and he's still around. It's
literally.
just that he's not. No, but the thing is, he is not the Green Lantern that everybody recognizes as Green Lantern.
Yeah,
The Green Lantern that everybody's recognized as Green Lantern is Hal Jordan, who has been around since what?
1959.
Yeah, they changed it. They changed the premise of the Green Lantern story to be more of a science fiction kind of space cop story.
Mhm.
One of the
Just to go back to a really super basic question. So I mean, I guess the whole supercomputer ring being called a Green Lantern, I guess that just is kind of something that just stuck around since the Alan Scott days.
Well, no. So one of the things that they did was they established the difference between the Alan Scott character and the Hal Jordan character
Hmm.
by giving this character a whole mythology in and of himself. So it starts very basic where he gets his power from a dying alien. So what ends up happening is his the original Green Lantern of the sector 2814, which is our sector Earth, crash lands on Earth.
Hmm.
Earth is known as like a backwater planet. Everybody laughs at humans because we're a bunch of savages, which is not wrong. And what ends up happening is he dies. Abin Sur is dying, so he sends the ring to find a replacement because the ring needs to find a replacement because you cannot have a sector of space not protected.
Right.
Right. And
So
there are 3,600 space sectors charted by the Guardians, which we'll get to, who founded the Corps. And so there is one Green Lantern for each sector. So throughout the universe, there are 3,600 Green Lanterns when uh, the concept of the new Green Lantern with Hal Jordan form.
Right. That's something that they establish as you find out about the powers that the ring has, the limitations that the ring has, because the ring is not all powerful. It has limitations.
Oh, yeah.
When Hal Jordan gets the ring, he finds out that he can't affect anything that's yellow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Caution tape, not getting past that.
Nope.
My one weakness, curses. Yeah, right.
What's even funnier about that is the ring that Alan Scott wears, which is the magical Green Lantern ring, which is its own thing.
Yes.
Its biggest weakness is wood.
Yeah, man.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, so like
So-
a baseball
Yeah,
bat could
really.
do some serious damage to that.
Could totally stop aircraft carriers and nukes and lasers.
But if that
You come
aircraft
out
carrier
you come
has
at the guy
wood.
with a toothpick, like
Yeah.
taking his eyes out.
Oh man, I could just imagine now. You're at the Legion of Doom. You know, like let's go to Lowe's. We got to take down this Green Lantern guy.
They bought this guy.
Or
Solomon
alternatively-
Grundy's got a 2x4. No, but it's actually funny that I
Alternatively, you
mentioned.
could- go ahead,
ahead.
Ed, sorry.
No. It's funny that I mentioned Solomon Grundy because Solomon Grundy was originally Alan Scott's biggest foe, and that's actually why the weakness to wood exists. Was to give this guy with a magical ring that could do anything a weakness against this giant hulking being. You know what I mean?
Right. And so when they reestablished the concept of Green Lantern and made it sci-fi, they decided they needed another superfluous and abstract weakness that is ridiculous on its face.
Hal Jordan's greatest weakness is a banana.
Oh no!
Oh no! Don't come at me with a banana.
Ring, ring,
How is he
ring,
going to
ring,
combat his
ring.
greatest foe? Potassium deficiency.
The funniest part about that is there's a scene in All-Star Batman that we have to bring up because All-Star
It's
Batman
so
and
great.
Robin.
Oh yeah,
is-
All-Star Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder. Say the whole thing. It's like a Tribe Called Quest.
No, that book is written by Frank Miller, and Frank
Yes.
Miller's known for just being a complete wackadoodle.
Basket
Oh,
case.
okay, this is
batshit
because this is the
crazy.
only time. This is the only time you're going to hear me defend this guy. He is known for like 2 stories, and they're considered quote unquote perfect. I think he caught lightning in a bottle twice, but
3
that's
times.
a whole nother topic.
Wait,
what's
wait,
the third?
he's-
What's the third?
said
He's run on
2.
Daredevil.
Oh yeah,
Wait a second. Is he the
Guys?
guy behind the goddamn Batman?
yes,
That's exactly
yes.
who we're talking
that's
about.
the
Ah.
exact story we're talking about.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was not a good story, but this was a great scene.
Oh, the story's a train wreck, but keep going.
So Batman's going to meet Hal Jordan in like an apartment building. or
Apartment
something.
complex, yeah.
Yeah. And him and Robin take the time to
They take
just
all day.
all day to cover the apartment in yellow paint themselves yellow. And when Hal Jordan gets there, they offer him lemonade.
Oh my god.
He's
Wait,
all
wait,
in the pitch.
It's great. Like, and not just the walls. I mean, every single surface of everything in the apartment,
Including
Oh my
themselves.
Yeah.
They're
Is this-
dripping. They're
is
dripping
this-
with paint.
Is this like 1960s, like G.
No.
Golly Willikers Batman?
No,
or...
This is
Oh, no.
2000s.
This is like 2008, like
Oh my
or
God.
2007. Like
I think the part that kills me about that is so the yellow impurity as it's called is like the weakness of the Green Lanterns. It's one of the things that like they make it a point to let you know that it's weak against yellow, and you think this is so dumb. Like
Yeah.
why? Why you make something that's weak like yellow? Like what?
Yeah.
But
It's
I
just
mean-
it's such
I mean-
an odd concept.
Because think about it, Green Lantern's the only superhero that can get stopped dead in his tracks by a rainbow.
Well, we'll get into that because there's so one of the things that we have to talk about, but it's first we have to establish the baseline of the character is.
oh, there are
there's-
more rings. There are more colors.
There are more colors. There, the rainbow is a thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Take your pick, bruh. No, but really, it gets kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
In a good way. Like it's
All
a lot of fun.
Well, I guess we can get to that in a bit. Yeah. So as you're saying, so there's more than one Green Lantern. Talking Hal Jordan. Now he was the one that Deadpool. I mean Ryan Reynolds played in the movie from like what 2012 was that?
Yes. I don't remember the year, but yes, he was perfect casting for Hal Jordan. There's nothing wrong. 2011, I believe that movie came out. There's nothing wrong with that movie. It's fantastic, and you should pause this and go watch this. We'll wait.
Oh
I
man, you got them
sense a
so
hint of
good.
sarcasm. I honestly haven't seen that movie.
No, no.
Um,
That's one of those things, man. Like I don't even. I've seen that movie. I don't remember a thing about it except that I watched it.
It
That's
wasn't
not
as
good.
terrible as
That's not a
people made
good
it
thing.
out to be, but it has made it out to be. But it's just not good either. It's just very generic, and the CGI looks like it's from like the early 2000s, late 90s, even though it's a modern movie.
Sliders may or may not be better.
oh man, don't you besmirch Sliders.
I love Sliders.
Oh, I love that show so much. Man. But yeah, so anyway though, but I'm thinking who comes after Hal Jordan? Cuz the only other one I know of is the one from the
Cartoon.
cartoon. I think his name is John Stewart, but wasn't there one before him?
Yes.
You
His
are
name was
thinking
Guy
of Guy
Gardner.
Gardner.
Ah, okay. What was his deal? Cuz I
Well, the thing
know
is that
nothing
we
on
have
him.
to take a break because Paulo's PC forced him to update.
All right, and we're back. So yeah, so we left off. We just started talking about Guy Gardner. So what can you tell me about him?
He's got the greatest haircut ever.
That is true.
He's got the sweetest jacket ever.
I want to look up a picture of him right now.
You should.
We'll,
The
we'll
thing about
leave
that
a.
jacket is it has grown on me over the decades.
It's pretty. It's
Oh
pretty
my
sweet.
God. Okay. You know what's really funny about this?
That he looks
You
like
know
a
what's really
grown-up
funny
Dennis
about
the
this?
Menace.
That
Oh
and
my god.
He looks like a grown-up ginger
no,
Dennis the Menace. We'll leave a picture in the description of what we're talking about here.
no. I didn't realize that he had a bowl cut,
Yeah.
like for real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh
no,
yeah.
it's the sweetest haircut.
No,
It's
because
it's a real thing.
I went to a couple of comic conventions and I saw a guy, dressed up as Guy Gardner with the bowl cut, and I'm like, oh, look at that guy in his like, mid-30s rocking a bowl cut. Or the weirdo. And no, he was doing it actually, he was doing the character justice.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The worst part is Guy Gardner is probably the character that we can most skip over because he's probably done the least.
He got knocked out by Batman in one punch.
It was
I think
beautiful.
I think most of us would get knocked out by Batman in one punch.
Yeah, but most of us don't have the most powerful weapon in the universe on our
And
hands.
most of us didn't talk shit for an entire run on Justice League.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's the other thing too. I'm looking at some other pictures of him. He does give off a very bro vibe.
Oh,
Oh,
he is.
he is the epitome of the bro.
I know. See,
Oh,
and
man.
That
He
man
really
that
is.
man summons Wolverines with his ring.
saying that he's a bro might not be the right terminology, especially like because he's not like a backwards visor wearing like sunglasses wearing douchebag. He's that like late 80s, early 90s like bar like frat boy douchebag. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my god,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, he
He
is.
is,
But
he is the epitome of a frat boy.
With
yeah,
that-
I think the takeaway though is he is a huge douchebag.
He is at one point he calls himself Guy Gardner Warrior. And that's like after he doesn't have his ring anymore.
Whoa.
So that's a whole nother thing. They essentially tried to reinvent the character because giving people the ability to morph their body parts into guns was super big, or like just morph their body parts in general in the 90s was a big thing. Like remember
Yeah, it
the
really
Secret World of
was.
Alex Mack? Like
God,
they turned him into her. They turned him into her essentially. They were like, his DNA got spliced with an alien at some point, and now we can just turn his hands into guns, right? That's the 90s.
So-
It's cool. Everybody's got guns. Good times.
So his power is more he can morph himself using the green. light.
Eventually.
Gotcha.
That's what
Like-
he becomes after he loses his ring.
Yeah,
And
they
gets
they basically try and keep the character, but just completely change his powers. He's not a Green Lantern at that point.
So if Alan Scott was the original and Hal was the reboot, is Guy Gardner the new Coke of the Green Lanterns?
Ooh.
Yes, because he was around, and then he wasn't.
I
And
mean,
then
no,
he
it
was
wasn't that
again.
it wasn't that he wasn't. It was just that he was terrible,
Yeah.
and everybody hated him. So they
Yeah.
decided
I
to
don't know,
hit him with a
everybody
bus.
hated him. They hit him with a
They decided to put
bus.
him in a coma and hit him in a bus because buses
Because
are
it was
yellow.
yellow. He was
And
walking
they,
across the street. It was like merp merp. And he tried to use the
and then
ring.
they were
Oh my god. He
The
suffered the
leg.
same he suffered the same fate as the bad girl from Bad Girls.
Regina George.
As the bad
Guy
girl
Gardner
from
was the
Bad
No,
Regina
Mean
Girls.
Girls, Mean
George.
Girls.
Yeah, I know, but
Oh God, Guy Gardner's the
Oh.
Regina George of the DCU.
oh my god!
Wait, hold on. Quick aside. Tell me that Mean Girls wouldn't be like, or I'm not saying it'd be a better movie, but tell me you don't want a remake of Mean Girls with the Predator in the Regina George spot. Like it's the same movie. It's the same movie. Just Regina George is the Predator.
only
stop trying to
on-
make stop trying to make shoulder lasers happen. They're not.
only if Jesse the Body's the principal.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh, I'm in.
yes.
Goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus.
Guys, what are we doing with this podcast when this idea is out there?
Oh man. Sell
you
this
can
to
go to our
Warner
new-
Brothers before this gets released.
Oh, you can go to our new Patreon page. You can become a patron and help us fund this movie.
Oh
So
god.
all right. Before we lose track and continue with this, Guy Gardner gets hit by a bus.
Because it's yellow. And the ring
Oh
don't
my
work.
God.
So they need a replacement for the replacement.
I
So
just have this image in my head of the Guardians of the Universe being like, well, this dumb ginger got hit by a bus. What do we do now?
So all right, before we even do that, we got to touch on the people who technically created the rings very loosely.
They did.
There's these little blue people called the Guardians of the Universe, and they've completely devoided themselves of all emotion and stuff like that. And they decided that, we're gonna police the universe with these special space rings, and people are gonna be chosen and all that other stuff.
Sounds like a good time. It
And-
sounds like a good time for everybody.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time for everybody, right? So, like, we're giving you the fast and loose version of the Green Lantern history because we get into it later.
Massive.
Because
Yeah.
we get into it later. We're just talking about who these people are.
We're
So-
giving you the setup so like all of this makes sense later.
Yes. So the Guardians of the Universe are technically important. They're like the sheriffs. They're the Raymond
Oh, they're only
Holtz.
technically important. They're only the Guardians of the Universe. Yeah, these guys protect everything, but fuck them, They don't
They only
matter.
protect the universe.
They don't do shit. They stand there. They're these little blue guys with like ridiculous hairstyles, ridiculous white hairstyles.
And they're
just
big
going
foreheads.
around,
They're big
"You're
wrinkly
breaking
foreheads.
protocol."
They're a bunch of tiny blue wharfs from like
Oh,
from
they
Star Trek.
I don't
sound
know.
like the.
I see it more like space bureaucrats.
I was about to say they sound like Vorgons from Hitchhiker's Guide because they love bureaucracy.
Oh, but they are so bureaucratic though.
They love
So
bureaucracy.
bureaucratic. Whatever.
They really are.
So they decide that Earth needs or rather I should say the sector requires another backup because Hal's not able to be Green Lantern all the time. Guy gets hit by a bus. So that's where they introduce the character of Jon Stewart, not to be confused with the Daily Show Jon Stewart, but
Oh,
Jon
I wish.
Stewart.
I wish.
No, man, I like Jon Stewart.
Did you ever look at a Green Lantern ring?
On
weed.
Jon Stewart is the
If
character.
you've
that
ever
a lot-
watched
Go
the
ahead,
Justice
sorry.
League cartoon,
Yeah, that's what I was about to
That's the
say.
one that a lot of people would be most familiar with because people who have not read the comics, he is basically the Green Lantern that they use for the cartoons,
Everything
and a
else.
lot of the series. Yeah,
I mean, even right now, he's the Green Lantern that's in the current Justice League run.
yeah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is. They pretty much the lineup that they currently have at Justice League is the Justice League from Justice League Unlimited, from the
Yeah,
cartoon.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So,
no, so
what
John's
year did
important.
Yeah, like what year was he introduced as the Green Lantern?
That was the
71, I believe.
It was either 71 or 73, I believe. Hold on, let me just now you got me questioning my knowledge.
Pretty sure I think Wikipedia is telling me 71.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right. I like because
Yeah.
I forget if it's 71, it's 73. I know it's the early 70s that they rolled out, John.
No, it's literally December, January, 71 and 72.
Ah,
Ooh.
gotcha. Yeah,
He's
I
also
wasn't
he's
sure. I wasn't sure if they just created him for the cartoon or something. I didn't realize he went that far back.
No, he all these characters go back a long way, and that's one of the things that we
Way
have to talk about. Like it's
They go way back.
the believe it or not, Green Lantern didn't get like where it is now till about maybe 2004. Yeah, 2004 is when Rebirth came out. So that's when it kind of exploded.
Yeah.
But there was Green Lantern was a major character in the DC universe, but like he didn't really do much. So like
No, he
Hal,
didn't.
Guy, John, they were like the main three Green Lanterns, the ones that they always talked about, and they had their cast of characters. You know, Abin Sur, who was the Green Lantern before Hal, who died to give Hal his ring. Sinestro, who is the character who was Hal Jordan's mentor and then becomes his greatest villain.
With a name like Sinestro, my
Oh,
God.
right, yeah, my
With-
gosh,
with-
who would have
a
thought
name
he'd be
like
evil?
Sinestro- yeah, with a name like Sinestro and a guy who looks like a tall, skinny magenta Hitler, like,
I'd
who
argue
could've,
he
you know,
looks more like
who could have
Salvador
thunk
Dali.
it?
Come on,
What's that?
Yes, I'm looking him up right now.
he looks like an orange Salvador Dali.
I was
You mean magenta? He's
Yeah.
going to go with an evil space John Waters.
ooh,
Yes, there
ooh,
you
Like that.
go.
Yeah, that's good.
Zap.
ooh. I think we're just done. Good night, everybody. Like that's
So no. So Sinestro, like we said, becomes Green Lantern's greatest villain, and Sinestro actually he's a villain throughout most of his run, like from the beginning where he's his mentor, he's his the guy who teaches him how to be a Green Lantern,
also to
to
note.
the point where Hal actually is the one who brings him down.
It's true.
I was gonna say also to note, because it's kind of important. Abin Sur, the alien who died,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
then gave Hal his ring, or the
Mhm.
ring I guess chose him.
Right.
His partner was Sinestro.
right. That actually gets retconned actually. So he's no
Oh, did it?
longer his partner. In
They
the
were
in
just
the
they were really close then, weren't they?
they were actually best friends, and Abin Sur was his mentor.
There it is.
So Abin Sur taught Sinestro how to wield the ring the same way that
Mm.
Sinestro taught Hal Jordan how to wield the ring.
Right.
And not only that, but Sinestro was also in the kind of the prophecies in the Book of Oa, which is the kind of the book where the Guardians keep track of all of their, everything that's happened in the Green Lantern Corps.
Mhm.
He's prophesized to be the greatest Green Lantern
Of all time.
of all time. Exactly.
Mm.
And how
Also, if
far
you've
the
ever
mighty
watched,
fall.
if you've ever seen Super Friends, he's a part of the Legion of Doom.
One of the movies that I recommend a lot of people watch is don't watch the shitty Green Lantern movie that came out.
Oh, excuse you. It's the most
Okay.
mediocre thing I've ever watched.
It is the most mediocre movie.
Besides
If you want
season 1 of DC Legends of Tomorrow.
if you want to watch a decent Green Lantern movie, watch the animated one, Green Lantern First Flight.
Ooh, that was pretty good.
That was good. Like I that movie actually does a great job of retelling the first adventures of Hal Jordan and how he discovers that Sinestro is a despot dictator in his sector, and that he controls his sector by fear and
No.
just is a giant fucking douchebag.
With a name like
That is
Sinestro,
so
who would have guessed?
sinister of him. My God.
My lord, that's Sinestro. So sinister.
Oh, this is just a very brief little factoid that I found interesting is that I noticed Sinestro wields his ring on the left hand, whereas most wield it on the right, and the term sinister is Latin for left-handed.
Ooh,
Is it really?
Yeah,
Huh. That's actually kind of interesting.
kind of cool. I like it.
yeah. Just I had to throw that in there.
I
There
mean,
you go,
that's
folks.
literally that's the whole point of that. They want to make sure that you're like, oh, look at that,
You get it?
Sinestro is so evil,
You get it?
There
He's
you
so bad. He's left-handed.
so evil.
There you go, folks. Don't trust lefties.
Well, yeah, that is how the term sinister became what it is today. Is that there was that huge stigma in the past against people who were left-handed. They thought it was like a a sign that they were of the devil.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
human beings are great at finding ways to hate people.
We really are.
How dare you be slightly different than me? I'm gonna hate you.
Oh boy.
Anyway, before
Uh,
we let's not get off track. So, like we were saying, like there's a lot of characters that get introduced during this time. There's the character of William Hand, who is just this kind of crazy dude who discovered a little device called like a cosmic wand, and he's able to absorb the energies of the Green Lantern ring. He becomes the villain known as Black Hand.
all right. So Black Hand, Sinestro. Well,
Uh,
what is
oh,
Black Hand's deal?
Black Hand. He wants to absorb. He commits crimes. He's got an obsession with death,
Oh,
and
does he?
Yes, very big
He commits
obsession with death.
crimes. He's a bad guy who commits crimes.
Yeah, he's a bad guy who commits crimes. Exactly. No, but like I said, like this, like I'm giving you the fast, quick version
Of course.
because truth is, all of this is build up to like some major events that actually affect the story of
Everything.
DC Comics in general.
Yeah,
Like it's not
everything.
even just like Green Lantern stories. It changes the cosmology of DC as a whole.
Good word.
So William Hand is just like your basic run the mill villain. They're all the again jobbers, like so many other villains that we have.
Yeah, I mean, almost all of Green Lantern's villains, except for Sinestro, were jobbers.
That's the truth.
I mean, is it like the sort of thing where he's just like such a powerful character, like pretty much everybody becomes a jobber by default?
No, he's boring. That's the problem.
Oh.
He was not very interesting up until where we're getting at.
Yeah,
And
I think we could dive into that. I mean,
for sure. I was gonna say one of Hal's biggest problems with you've got a ring that can do anything, right? And all you need to do is think about it.
Mhm.
This
And
guy
just
just
making
decides. This
fists
guy,
and anvils and just
yeah,
generic
yeah.
objects. He was very
Hal decides that
unimaginative with it.
yeah, Hal decides he'd rather punch you in the like he would punch a room full of people in the face, and then instead of walking the 30 feet it would take to punch you in the face, he'd use the ring to make a giant fist to punch you in the face.
It's like a running joke with him. It's like, oh,
It
let's
really
just
is.
make a fist.
And
punches
He
everyone.
solves his problem with fists all the time.
but yeah, the thing is but going back to what Paul was saying is the issue that almost all of the Green Lanterns had was that they had no real personalities, especially Hal.
No, it's the truth. Like they didn't do much up until they decided to pull probably in my opinion, one of the greatest villain turns.
Yeah, heel turn.
Yeah, one of the best heel turns ever.
It's literally like Hulk Hogan turns heel on WCW levels. Like it's great.
So we should probably get into that, which is happened in I believe 94.
Emerald Twilight into
Yes.
New Dawn. 93, 94.
Yeah, and 0 Hour, which
Yes.
was the big event that it culminated in. And so what happened is during the right after Superman died in the comics, there was a uh introduction of 4 characters who were kind of like new Supermen. And one of them, of course, the one known as Cyborg Superman, wasn't Superman. Neither of the other 3, but that's not the point. But the point is,
You don't
Cyborg
say.
Superman went on to team up with this alien dictator Mongol to destroy Hal's home city, Coast City, and killed 7 million people.
Ooh, dick move.
Yeah,
Yeah,
huge
Dick move.
not a cool thing.
Oh
No.
man.
So
7
Hal,
million people just get incinerated.
yeah,
Yeah,
and like
and
the
Hal's
city
mad.
destroyed.
Mongols
Yeah,
are like, "Sick Frank, bro."
yeah,
No, he's
and
not mad. He's not
no,
mad. Okay,
he kind of
snaps.
snaps. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he snaps. He tries to recreate the city and its inhabitants with his ring. Like he loses it, and his ring runs out of charge. He can't maintain it, and he gets mad. And so then the Guardians show up, and he's like, "Hey, you guys need to give me more power so I can, keep this city going." And they're like, no, not only were you not going to do that,
Mhm.
you literally broke our biggest rule: don't use the ring for self gain. We're taking your ring, and
Oh boy.
he's like, oh yeah.
Over my dead body.
Well, yeah, and also the dead bodies of many other Green Lanterns.
He goes
Oh, man.
he goes on a
Rampage, if you will. He's
yeah,
a
I
regular
think
Dwayne
rampage
Johnson.
is rampage is the better word. I don't think it's a murder spree because he doesn't kill everybody.
Oh, he kills a lot of them. Come
But
on.
he kills a lot of Green Lanterns.
No,
Like he
But I-
just
murder spree's not an understatement. It's pretty accurate.
But I assume he must be like, taking their rings and does their
Yeah.
powers, no?
Yeah, he was taking the
Okay.
rings along the way.
Yeah.
And he was carving a path straight to Oa to the central power battery to steal the power of all of the Green Lanterns.
Dude, those rings need some like two-factor authentication or something. man.
You gotta get the Google app on your phone to be a Green Lantern.
Well, so okay. One of the thing of notes is we also have to bring up the topic that at this point Sinestro is a prisoner of Oa. So like they've locked him inside of the central power battery to kind of keep him from continuing to be
Evil.
a major
Yeah.
evil, so to speak.
Sinister?
Because like he just keeps like Hal keeps beating him and he just keeps coming back. It's also worth noting that at this point, Sinestro has created a power ring from the antimatter universe that is yellow in its powers.
Yes,
It was actually
booted-
created
Oh.
by the Cordian weapon masters, but
yes, I would say the weaponer of Cord of
Yeah,
the
thank you.
weaponers of Cord created his ring. Once he was booted from the Green Lantern Corps, he was I forget if he went on his own accord or if he was just
He was
exiled
banished.
there.
He was
Yeah.
exiled.
Yeah,
Mm.
so he gets exiled to the
yeah.
antimatter
And of course
universe.
their ring, and of course their ring is yellow, so that's kind of a big deal when you can't stop anything yellow.
Not even a bus.
No, especially a bus. No. What's even worse is that all Sinestro does now is just make buses, and he beats Hal to death with them. It's like, you dumb ginger friend.
So Hal's on this murder spree on his way to Oa, and I know I said murder spree is not the right word, but yes,
No,
it's a
murder spree is totally the right word. That's what I said.
he is just making stops and just thoroughly wrecking everybody's shit.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Giant fists, just
Yeah.
boring giant planes, and he's killing everybody with them.
Yeah, and the Guardians had the brilliant idea of sending 1 or 2 lanterns at a time after him.
Yeah, no,
Over and
don't send the entire corps. Just send like 1 or 2. You've got 36,000 lanterns. Let's send them 2 at a time.
Well, they definitely send like a handful of them at them at once, because there's definitely a scene where they like there's like the last line of defense, and he fights at least a couple dozen.
Yeah, but that's after he'd already collected like 20 rings.
Well, shut up. I mean,
Oh man.
So he
Activate
gets to
the
Oa.
emergency measures.
Yeah.
Get the
No, okay,
yellow
okay.
Crayola crayon.
Hold on. That's what we're getting to. He gets to Oa, and he's just like, all right.
like, yo, it's good, you little blue bitches.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait.
We got you.
one more guy. One more. And what do is they decide that they're going to give Sinestro back his fucking ring and make him fight Hal Jordan.
Oh, there's a huge reveal. They open up the power battery, and out walks Sinestro, and he's like, yo, it's good.
He's going to shock the world.
Exactly. He's making a fucking. He's going from heel to what the fuck is it? I'm sorry. I'm just went brain dead.
Babyface.
Yeah, he was just went
baby
babyface for like a couple seconds there.
Yeah, a couple seconds.
Couple
Because he has
seconds.
such a
because-
baby face.
Yeah, no,
It's
because that's how long it
couple
takes him to.
minutes. Give him. You know, he lasted quite a bit.
Yeah, a couple minutes because that's how long it takes for Hal Jordan to snap his fucking neck.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He beats him down like a red. I was gonna say he beats him like a redheaded stepchild, which is A, really insensitive to A, redheads, and then B, Guy Gardner, who's recovering in a hospital because he was hit by a bus.
He beats him like a magenta skinned stepchild.
Okay, he does. He
How
does.
dare you be insensitive to magenta skin people, sir?
I'm just imagining Guy Garner sitting in a hospital bed hearing what you're saying and going, "No, cool, bro."
Yeah, no. So Hal Jordan just he sends Sinestro to Dick Kick City. Like he just kicks his dick in the dirt and just breaks his neck. Like, what's good, you stupid little blue bitches? You're next. Like,
Oh, so,
So
so how the hell do they even stop Hal
don't.
if Sinestro?
They
they
don't.
don't.
they
Oh
don't.
shit!
They don't. He wins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
takes
absorbs
the
the central power battery.
Yeah, he gets the power of the entire cores. And so imagine how powerful Green Lantern was already. He had this weapon that created anything he wanted through willpower and imagination. And there's 3600 Green Lanterns. So he takes the entire power battery. So he at this point is like a god. He has the power of over 3600 Green Lanterns.
Oh damn!
He's
Not
also
only
wearing
that-
baller ass armor at this point too.
Yeah, no, he gets this baller suit of armor and starts calling himself Parallax.
Damn!
And like he just becomes probably one of the biggest villains in the DC universe as a result of this.
Yeah, he tries to
Um,
reset time.
Oh Nikes!
Yeah, he was like, if I
No,
can't, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, he's pretty much like, if I can't even use these rings for personal gain, I might as well just, or no, not even. I want to say that he does recreate like Coast City, and it's all up and running because of his power. But he's like, wait, if I can just do this with my power, why can't I just reset time and make it so Coast City was never destroyed?
Yeah,
And
that's
this
a-
leads into a conflict with all the heroes of Earth because they're like, hey, don't fuck with time. And
It's
he's
like,
like,
well-
I don't know. I already fucked with the space cops of, the universe.
Yeah,
So,
there are no more space cops because of me. I am the space cop.
Yeah. So
I am
I am the boss.
yeah, he's like, I'm a little past bargaining here, guys.
So okay, fine. So he becomes this big fucking villain, and all of a sudden, Hal Jordan's an interesting character. So DC decides, you know what? We can make Green Lantern a little bit more interesting. One Guardian survives, and
One singular one.
one singular Guardian survives.
With the
one who
sweetest
actually
haircut,
took
by
a
the way.
name. Yes, amazing haircut. By the
I'm
name
sorry
of
about his
Ganthet.
haircut.
Seriously, no. So this one Guardian survives by the name of Ganthet, and he hides on Earth. And so he goes to this guy, this cartoonist that's walking out drunk from a bar.
What's even funnier is the freaking Guardians look like Muppets in robes. Chilling in a garbage can, and this drunk art cartoonist comes stumbling out of the back of a bar into an alleyway, and this Muppet pops up, and he's like, "Bro, here's this ring. Save the Earth."
Save the universe.
Yeah. Literally, what Ganthet said to him is, "You'll have to do."
Yeah. No, and like I'm joking, like I'm playing it up for comedic effect. That like here comes this guy, kind of down on his luck, who's stumbling into an alleyway, into a bar, like, out of a bar. That's kind of important though.
Yeah, that is kind of important actually. But no, so we're not there just yet. So we're talking about like this is a new Green Lantern that gets introduced. This is I think
The last Green Lantern. Because the thing is that Ganthet used the last of his power to forge one final ring.
That's right.
And
And he's like, "Good luck, buddy. See you later."
yeah, pretty much. So this is the birth of my favorite Green Lantern. And granted,
You
not
and,
the
mine
most.
as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say not the greatest origin story. Guy had to take a piss in an alley, and just you'll have to
Blue
do.
Muppets pops out. You'll have
Yeah.
to do. This is just imagine the scene: this drunk fucking guy coming out of a bar and take a piss, and this blue Muppet just pops out.
He's like, "What
Hello, you look like you can be a new superhero.
It isn't easy being Green Lantern.
It's not easy being a Green Lantern.
That is how I'm gonna imagine the Guardians from now on.
Oh my god.
So, and this is the birth of Kyle Rayner.
Well,
The
he was
torch
already
bearer.
birthed. He was a human at that point.
Well, I'm saying the Torchbearer. That's what they call him.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the guy who freaking the last Green Lantern at this point.
Yeah.
Wait,
He's the
in the
Tom
entire
Cruise of Green
universe.
Lanterns.
hold
And,
the phone. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
you go. You go.
I was just
No,
gonna
no. 'Cause
say.
I'll-
Anyway, but I was just
Somebody
gonna say.
get hit by a bus so someone else can talk.
But yeah. So he is the last Green Lantern in the universe. He's gifted with this ring. Now his ring has some special advantages because it's the last one. And
Yes.
for instance, he does have to recharge it, but it always seems to keep a bit of a charge, so he never just like runs out of energy completely. Um, and he has no weakness to yellow.
Was
Whoa.
that was that
Yeah,
right off the bat, or
yeah,
I thought
right
that
off.
was something
No,
we
no,
find out?
right off the bat.
They talk
He
about that
discovers
later.
it
They explain
because
that later.
in shortly after he debuts, he fights Mongol, who has yellow skin.
Yes, he is a
Su-
giant yellow
yeah,
muscle bound
right. And
alien man.
Superman shows up because Mongol's a really powerful guy,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so him and Green Lantern take down Mongol together. And so Superman is then like, okay, first off, who are you? And he's like, I'm Green Lantern. And he's like, you're not the one I know. And he's like, well, I'm kind of new to this. And he's like, okay. And secondly, how did your ring even work on him? It's not supposed to work against anything
Because
yellow.
everybody knows you can't affect yellow.
Yeah, and the thing is Kyle didn't. Kyle didn't know that
Yeah,
that
he had
ring was
no
supposed to have the
clue.
weakness. He was like, "Oh, that's news to me." But yeah, I don't have any issue with yellow. Why would I have a problem with a color?
Isn't that dumb?
One of the nice things about Kyle Rayner was that he, because he was a comic book artist, it's kind of like a little bit of wish fulfillment for the person who was drawing him. He,
Right.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
oh my god, like he did not create his constructs like to be boring. Like so
No.
for example, like
No,
Hal
no, there
Jordan,
was
like we
never a
said,
giant fist.
yo, Hal Jordan's boring as fuck with his constructs. Like, not gonna lie. Guy Gardner is a bro, so he just makes stupid, douchey constructs.
He's a
Like
frat
Natty
boy, not a
Ice.
bro. Get it
Yeah,
right.
like a frat boy. But like one of the things that they say is like his aura is always on fire because like you do have a green aura that surrounds you in your Green Lantern.
Mhm.
John Stewart is a architect slash
Former Marine, I
former
believe.
Marine. So his constructs, they seem to like they build from the inside out. Like you can see how like when his constructs get created, they they are solid constructs. Like they're of the most solid that you could ever make because he builds them from the outside from the inside out.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Kyle,
They would say that his constructs are like the most complex.
yes.
Hmm.
Kyle draws his constructs. Like Kyle, he's an artist, so like his constructs just flow out of him.
Mhm.
Which is such a cool thing with a character like that. I don't know. I always thought that was cool. My area of expertise is not Kyle Rayner. I actually was not reading comic books when Kyle Rayner was around.
Oh,
Right.
dude, I loved this story as a kid.
So anyway, back to the story of Emerald Twilight. So Hal Jordan does all of this. Indirectly causes the creation of Kyle Rayner, and he decides that he is going to pretty much reset time. And there's a giant crossover called Zero Hour where the DC heroes are doing their best to stop Parallax.
They're doing whatever they can, and it's not good enough.
No, it's
No.
not enough. Yeah, it's almost that they can't do it. But they do stop him, if I recall. I forget how.
Green Arrow.
Yeah, Green Arrow. Yeah, Green Arrow shoots him. That's right. He shoots
Yeah.
his. So, okay, one of the things that we have to bring up is that Green Arrow is actually one of Hal Jordan's best friends, along with
Mm.
Barry Allen, the Flash.
Yeah.
And Green Arrow could not believe that Hal
Best
had
friend.
become, yeah, his best friend had become this just force of evil
Thing, this
and just
monster, this evil murdering man.
He kind of
Exactly.
reminds me of the Hurricane from wrestling in your like early 2000s.
well, the costume
Parallax.
is very similar.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
That guy actually has a Green Lantern tattoo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that
Shane
makes
Helms is
perfect
a-
sense.
Yeah, yeah. He's a huge comic.
He's a
book
big
fan.
he's a big Green Lantern fan, if I recall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he does have the tattoo.
Yes.
And he did rip off Parallax's costume.
Yes.
did.
He did. So
Parallax's was more baller though.
Yeah.
so he stops Parallax. He shoots him in the chest with an arrow.
Mhm.
And manages to stop him. But at the same time, what exactly happened? Like the Earth, something was happening where the sun was shutting off.
Yeah, the sun was being extinguished. I forget by some being, I believe, and I don't remember what it was called.
Mhm.
And he then sacrifices himself and uses all of his parallax power to reignite
Reignite
the sun.
Exactly, yeah. So the
Hmm.
body of Hal Jordan just kind of sits in the sun as he sacrifices himself to say, like he dies heroically again to kind of
Mm.
just
Redemption.
Some redemption.
Yeah, some art that's one of those things that I love about this freaking character and about the whole story of Green Lantern is they do such a great job of really just kind of once this starts, everything just kind of starts falling into place with this character, and it just becomes so much more interesting. Where it's a story of redemption, it's a story of personal failings. It's a story on a grand scale because, like I mentioned before, it affects the entire DC universe from
Yeah.
start to finish. And that's one of the reasons why we decided to bring up the actual ring itself, because while the ring itself is truly powerful, it's what the person who wields it can do with it.
Very true.
So you have like a character like Hal Jordan falls to evil, who succumbs to his greatest failings, his fears. You have a character like Sinestro who uses it for like bringing order in a negative way. You have characters like Guy Gardner and John Stewart who are like they're the soldiers of the story, and then you got a character like Kyle Rayner who wasn't supposed to wield the ring.
No, which so on the same wavelength of what you were just saying. What resonates with, and especially now that I'm older, what resonates with someone like Kyle Rayner for me, here's a guy who's essentially and I feel like it also will resonate with other people that like if you ever had a job that you just got dropped into and they're like, there's no instruction manual, figure it out, have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he
That's
is
that.
a complete
That is
noob
that
as
is
a
literally
superhero.
that on a cosmic scale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
literally,
I
you're
think
gonna have
that's a
to
good
do.
place to
You're the
break.
only person around to figure this out.
Yeah.
Go fight
But
the strongest, the greatest thing at your job ever. Have fun.
yep. And
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, and I'm giving you this ring, but also now I'm dying, so good luck.
Bye.
But yeah,
there's
so
also
Kyle
some
was
transference.
so Kyle was a Green Lantern for the only Green Lantern for a decade, but that leads
Yes.
us into what we're going to get into next. And with that, I think it's the time for a break.
It's not that good. Come on, you ready? You ready? I'm doing this.
so
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it without it.
I'm so ready.
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. I cracked. I forgot it.
Those who worships evil's might, beware my power.
God, I
Lantern's light.
suck at this.
This is the Layman's Guide to the Multiverse.
We're
Actually, really
we're
like
not
that.
a core.
All right, and we're back. All right,
Glad to be
guys.
here.
So, what?
I said glad to be here.
Are you?
Oh.
You don't sound excited to be here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you to be here? with 10 being the worst, 1 being your ascension to divinity, and 5 being Aquaman.
Better yet, on a
fish.
scale of 1 to 3,600 Green
Ooh.
Lanterns.
Ooh.
There you go.
And where we left off, all of them are dead.
Not except for one.
Everyone is
My
dead.
parents are dead.
But yeah, that one. Kyle Renner, you said his name was, right?
Rayner. Yeah.
Rayner. Sorry.
And he is the Green Lantern that a lot of us grew up on because he was the only Green Lantern from 94 till 2004. Well, actually, it's not technically true because one
Alan
of the
Scott
things
was still alive.
What?
Alan Scott was still
Couldn't hear you.
alive. You were saying that he was the only Green Lantern. Alan Scott was also still alive.
Okay, that's fair. But actually, what I wanted to get into is actually, you know what? I'll get into that after that. Let's start with where Kyle began. A complete newbie to being a superhero. Literally, a guy who was an artist one day, and then the next day had the most powerful weapon in the universe.
Wait,
but was
before
also
we
still an artist.
Before we even get into that, so while all this is going on, Guy Gardner is still in a hospital bed?
I wish.
I'm a little lost.
I wish he just.
Now that's when he got his body morphing powers and became like the Mighty Morphin.
Guy
Rabbit
Gardner, warrior. He
Yeah,
even gets
that's
like
gonna-
Ultimate Warrior paint style when he
Yeah, he
morphs his
does.
body.
Oh,
Like,
and he's
that's-
he is perpetually shirtless. We're definitely gonna leave a link in the description. We're just gonna leave a bunch of just like Green Lantern, or I'm sorry, Guy Gardner costumes, like just links to pictures in the description of this, like
God, he's got the worst fashion sense in the DC universe.
or
With
the
that bowl
best.
cut? No way. I don't believe you. Looks
Keep
like
that
it,
away.
I
looks
still
like he ripped that off a Doc Ock.
He's got a Doc
But-
Ock wig and he dyed it red.
Honestly though, I cannot lie to you. Somehow that horrendous jacket has really grown on me over the years.
Oh,
I
man,
don't,
now
I don't
I-
hate it. I don't hate it, honestly.
No, the
I'm
modernization of the
replacing Guy
jacket's not
Gardner's
bad.
head. I'm replacing Guy Gardner's normal head with Doc Ock with the stupid
Oh.
fucking triangle glasses that he wears.
Oh, I
and
wish.
the red bowl cut. Oh my god.
man, the dumb jacket.
Oh,
That and the dumb jacket
You know,
and the
let's spend
Doc
the rest
Ock
of
arms.
let's spend the rest of the episode on that jacket. Where did he get it from, even?
He created it with the ring, but I'm sure it was inspired by something he actually wore.
I'm not sure.
God.
I'm not sure what's worse, that terrible pop collar or those stupid white gloves he wears.
Wait, what about his giant space boots? Have you seen those? Those stupid
Wait,
green
wait.
boots he wears?
Are they boots or are they booties?
No, they're like
Ooh.
they look like he's wearing green Uggs.
Oh, God.
Grugs, if you will.
Yeah, you're
Good
right.
Grugs.
Oh, my God.
Get Grugs.
I
I
don't
don't
even
wears
care.
Grugs.
Kyle's my favorite Green Lantern, but I am okay with just spending the rest of the episode talking about Guy Gardner's fashion.
Yeah, no,
Guy
no,
Gardner's-
no. We could totally jump into how like Rebirth, like modernized not only the concept of Green Lantern, but like made changes to the DCU. We could talk about what happened to Hal Jordan after he reignited the sun, or all the crazy power feats that Kyle Rayner eventually gets in this decade. Man, screw that. Have you seen Guy Gardner's fashion sense?
Yo, and the best part is it doesn't change.
Except
Oh,
for the bowl
Never
cut.
change. He is still wearing that costume.
He is. They got rid of the bowl cut, but everything else is the same.
he's still they modernize they modernized the jacket. It's not as bad, but it's still that jacket.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
he's wearing. Now he wears like a Leatherman jacket.
You know what he
Yeah.
looks like? He looks like that kid in elementary school that got a leather jacket because he wanted to be like the Fonz.
Oh
Oh
man.
my God, yes, that is Guy Gardner. That is the epitome of Guy Gardner.
Oh man.
Yeah, but he has none of like the Fonz's style. Like he goes to hit the jukebox to fix it, he just breaks the glass, starts bleeding.
No, because he can will one into existence. There you go.
He would do that. That's what he would do. He would will a
He's
jukebox
not
into
boring.
existence.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
all right, we need to.
I'm
we
gonna
need
get,
to
I'm gonna get back to
stop.
Kyle.
All right,
I'm gonna get
no-
back to Kyle now.
No more Guy Gardner. Let's go to Kyle.
All right. So Kyle is thrust into the situation. Like I said, literally one day pissing in an alley outside a bar. Next day, wield the
Boom
most
Muppet.
powerful weapon in the universe. And he is a complete noob. And but at the same time, he's also a little arrogant at the beginning. He thinks like this is the coolest thing ever because he's like an everyman. What would you do if you suddenly were given the most powerful weapon ever that creates anything you can imagine?
Not know how to fucking use it.
Dumb crap. Lots of dumb crap.
Right? Like
Right, but I mean, I guess being superhero is easier when they're supervillains.
I'm gonna
I guess-
fucking
I
bring
guess
that
if-
soda over to me right now.
Yeah. Okay, so granted, we would use it in a mundane way that only served ourselves, but no, he decides to become a hero, and everybody kind of treats him like crap because he's a newbie. They do let him join the Justice League because he's still Green Lantern, massively powerful. But
like I guess you could join our super special awesome superhero club. I guess.
everybody treats him like a noob, and Wally in particular, Wally West Flash, does
Yes.
not like him.
Yes.
And during his run with the Justice League over the years, it's funny to see how they go from really disliking each other to
They
becoming
hate
best
each other at the
friends.
start.
Yeah.
They hate each other at the start and become very, very close friends because they are essentially in the same boat.
Yeah. Because
Like
Wally has
they're
to take
both
over
they're
from Barry.
both newer at that job, and they hate each other for it.
Yeah.
Because
They
Wally's
do.
Is it
friends
just
with
a
Hal.
reflection of each other?
Say that again?
I'm sorry, what, Ed?
Oh no, I'm saying that they
No, because
like.
they're just reflections of each other, right?
Oh, Paulo, you are right that they are essentially reflections of each other. But what I was saying was that I want to say Wally was friends with Hal. So he's
He
like,
was.
I know who Green Lantern is, and you're not him, you fucking scrub.
Yeah, at one point, he actually, when they were fighting Parallax, he's like, I looked up to you. Like, I thought of you as Uncle Hal.
Oh,
And,
you
and
were
then
telling my
Parallax just
heartstrings.
goes, well, I'm right, and I think in time you'll find that Uncle Hal was right all along.
Oof.
Oof.
Yeah, he wasn't, but
Yeah.
all right. So Kyle adapts. He gets experience on the job, so to speak, and he does really come into his own. Now, at one point, after Parallax redeemed himself, quote unquote, by reigniting the sun, Kyle absorbs the energy from the central power battery that
Still
Hal
in the
had.
sun, if I remember correctly.
It was, but
No, wasn't it that Jade gave him that power?
Not at
That's
first.
not
Or
what I
that's something else
recall.
that I'm thinking.
I think that's something else. But
So where Doug is going,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna like step on your toes here, but Kyle Rayner becomes Ion, and he becomes Ion twice, and
Okay, that's where
Doug's
my
talking
mistake
about
is.
the first time.
I see. Okay, never mind. Continue.
But yeah, so when he absorbs the power, he becomes Ion, and he gains godlike power, like Parallax did.
Isn't he like practically omniscient at that point?
Yeah.
Think of Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen, where he's literally in multiple places
Mhm.
in multiple at multiple time.
That is actually one of my favorite scenes from a Green Lantern's book. Is he was in the Justice League, and he's like sitting on a couch in the Watchtower, and the Watchtower alarms start going off. Incoming alien invasion. And he's sitting there on the couch reading a magazine, and like Superman, like Wonder Woman are like, "Hey, we need to get out there and stop that." And he's like, "No, I got it covered." And they're like, "What are you talking about? You're sitting on the couch reading a magazine." And he's like, "Yeah, and I'm also there, and yeah, I just took care of it. They're done."
They do a double take on them like that monitor duty, and they're like, "Yeah, he handled this."
Yeah, and
we need to have a talk about your power level, sir.
yeah,
That's exactly what
And-
happens.
that is what happens. But also, Kyle finds that like he can't sleep anymore. Literally, like he's incapable of it. He doesn't get tired, so he is on the job 24/7, in multiple places doing things, and he starts to become overwhelmed by the responsibility of that power. Great power.
Understandably.
Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility. What happens with ultimate power?
Ultimate
responsibility.
Right.
Omega
and-
responsibility, king of the responsibility.
So Kyle decides to travel to Oa, which is barren now because no Guardians, no Green Lanterns, and he uses the power of Ion to recreate the central power battery and the Guardians.
Yes.
Nice
And
guy.
yeah, he becomes like obviously the hero of the entire Corps. They call him the Torchbearer because
In the darkness.
he literally restarted the Corps. He brought light back to the universe from darkness. And he was a little selfish in the sense that he kept a few special properties for his ring.
Yeah.
But besides that, he was really not any more powerful than any of the other Green Lanterns at this point. And
Yeah, I mean, he what's it called? What were the couple of perks that he kept? I know one of them, or actually two of them. One of them was that he was able to call his ring back from like if somebody had snatched it from him, he could just call it back to himself. That was something that like none of the Green Lanterns could do prior.
True.
As well as his power
And-
battery was in like a little pocket dimension. He could just grab.
yeah, pull it out anytime. And
Yeah.
he kept like his ring had like a direct line to the central battery, so he could never run out of energy completely.
Oh, right.
Well,
he also
all the
gave
rings
himself a new-
technically have a direct line to the central power battery.
Yeah,
I
they
do
recall
now.
correctly. It's just so to mention that, like those abilities that you're mentioning,
Mhm.
they kind of become standard to the core itself once
Eventually.
he recreates them. Yeah,
Eventually, yeah.
yeah.
But-
Also,
Yeah,
with Kyle
so-
bringing the Guardians back to life, Paulo, you mentioned earlier that they were completely devoid of emotion, and we're kind of stoic and all that jazz earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So something that he does is when he brings them back, like he brings back 12 of them. but they're not just a bunch of like old. They're not just a bunch of
Old
like tiny
men.
old blue dudes. They have
Yeah.
genders now. They're also kids.
Yeah, and they have emotions.
Yes.
That's a big thing. That's a big
It is
deal.
a big thing. And so Kyle, like, he does a great job. Eventually, he does screw up a bit at first, cockiness, being new to the job, but he proves his own over and over throughout his own run and in the Justice League. At one point, containing a supernova with the power of his will, and then help from future Superman. But yeah, he does quite a bit.
There's a lot of
becomes
crazy power
God,
things.
restarts Green Lantern Corps. Becomes
That's all.
like,
Whatevs. You know.
yeah, the greatest hero that the Green Lantern Corps has ever seen. No big deal.
That's all. No big deal. Whatever.
And like this all happens within like
A decade.
Wow. So
Yeah, we're about 10 to 15 years worth of comics happens.
I mean, it's already sounding kind of boring, honestly. If he's just walks onto the job and is just that broken already.
He
was broken
not
as
though.
Ion.
That's the thing.
But that's the thing. He was broken as Ion.
Yeah.
But that was just a short storyline.
That was what like
okay. So-
that was like a not even a 6-month thing. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So
I
all
got
of these different threads that we've been giving you, like all these different things that have happened. It's all at first they're all just kind of like separate parts of the mythos. They all just kind of take place in their own like little thing. It's not until 2004 that
Before we get there, do you want me to touch on something else?
Yes.
yes,
There's one
go
thing
ahead.
you got it.
There's one more
So-
thing that we need to talk about. There's something still going on
Right. So
before any of this happens. You think Hal Jordan's dead?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ed.
oh, fine. Yeah. So I mean, Hal was dead. He did die. He gives up his powers. He reignites the sun, and he essentially dies in the center of it. If I'm remembering correctly, he ends up meeting God and desperately wants to be redeemed because in his final moments of living, he was trying to redeem himself. He was trying to be the hero that he always was. So he pleads and he's like, listen, I just want to be better. And they give him the chance, but he's like, you're gonna get your chance, but you're gonna be the new host of the Spirit of Vengeance, the Spectre.
Spectre.
So when I say
was
the
just hoping I
Spectre,
could go back. Is this really necessary?
yeah, pretty much. I can't, and I'm not even sure if I can. I mean, I said earlier, yeah, I got this. I don't know if I can put into words just very quickly of how powerful the Spectre is. Like he's literally like when I said the Spirit of Vengeance, he's the right hand of like
Of God.
the Old Testament like Judeo-Christian God.
Fire and brimstone.
Very much so. Like he has no problem. So going back to that, so Hal Jordan is the host of the Spectre, and in the storyline that we're about to talk about, Rebirth, Hal visits his friend Ollie, Oliver Queen, Green Arrow. He goes to visit him, and they talk about some stuff, and you find out that Ollie actually has one of Hal's rings. He keeps the ring as a memorial to him and all this stuff. So the villain that I was talking about before, William Hand, Black Hand, breaks into Oliver Queen's Arrow Cave in order to
he's doing
steal
crimes like you were saying before.
Yeah, exactly, doing crimes to steal the Green Lantern ring, because the Green Lantern ring gives him, like, he can absorb its power using his little cosmic wand to make himself more powerful. So he goes to steal it. Now, Hal Jordan's there, and Hal's like, "What are you doing? That's not yours." So Oliver's about to go stop
doing
him.
crimes, bro.
Exactly. He goes to stop him. He's like he shoots William Hand like right in his hand and like pegs him to a wall. And then the Spirit of Vengeance, because the Spirit of Vengeance is, its own entity, is like, "Oh, I'm just gonna, hand for a thief." He burns, like literally cauterizes his hand, the hand of William Hand off.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's not screwing around. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't screw around. He doesn't play games.
That's the Spectre being nice, by the way.
That was the Spectre. That was Hal Jordan going, "What are you doing?" Hal Jordan being like, "I don't want to do this." And
He's
Hal
like, We're doing
and
it.
the Spectre,
Vengeance must be served.
yeah, the Spectre's just like, this is trifle. We shouldn't be dealing with this. There is a child that was just murdered in some random city somewhere that you need to enact vengeance on.
There's
and Hal's just
evil
like,
afoot.
no, I'm visiting my friend. I'm trying to have a conversation here.
We're making
Oh,
tea.
So all of this, so Hal is now the host of the Spectre. Now all of this kind of leads into what we're going to talk about next, which is in my
Greatest
personal
retcon, the
opinion,
greatest retcon
Yeah.
in the history of comics.
yeah, hands down the greatest retcon in the history of. In 2003, 2004, they give a writer that was relatively known for only just a couple of runs on Justice League. He wrote an Avengers story at one point. He'd written some of the Flash.
Mhm.
He had a run on JSA at that point too. That
yeah,
was really
that's right.
good.
The JSA run that was really good.
He actually
pitches
he
to
did a
DC.
bunch, but
Yeah. But he wasn't like a big name though. Like people weren't like, oh my god, Jeff Johns.
Yeah, he wasn't a superstar yet.
Exactly. He
Oh.
wasn't a superstar yet. So he throws a pitch at DC about bringing back Hal Jordan as Green Lantern.
Mhm.
And this is where he takes this piece of history, that piece of history, that piece of history. This is that happened. And he just weaves this beautiful story. And like I said, he writes everything into it. He includes, John Stewart plays a huge role. Guy Gardner plays a huge role. Sinestro plays a huge role. Everyone who's been Kilowog, who is the just a quick mention, he's the drill sergeant of the Green
He's
Lantern.
essentially like the head trainer of the Green Lantern Corps. If
Yeah.
the Green Lantern Corps is a military unit, he's the head trainer.
Yeah, he's their drill sergeant. He's the guy who tells them how to fucking use the ring. Like, this is
Gotcha.
what you do, poozers.
Yeah,
Is he like a Lee Harley Army kind of guy?
Yeah, that's kind of how they bill him out to be. Like he's this big, gruff, pink pig looking dude.
Yeah.
And it like I said, he's cool. Like
He is cool.
you'll know more about him as the story goes. So
Gotcha.
Jeff John takes everything that's going on right now and he makes all of it make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he takes all of a sudden the yellow weakness is no longer stupid. Now it makes sense. Why Hal Jordan went
Crazy.
super cuckoo crazy makes sense.
I thought it made sense before, but I'll
honestly, it
I'll
didn't
talk
seem
about
that
that later.
crazy.
Yeah. He starts the story off with Kyle having gone to space and he crash lands on Earth in a ship. It's very reminiscent of the way Abin Sur landed on Earth. He crashes into a ship and on the ship, he's carrying the body of Hal Jordan. He went into the sun and took the body of Hal Jordan.
It's
Mhm.
like,
while
I
this-
need this.
Yes, exactly. So while all this is happening, Hal is on Earth doing his normal thing. He's trying to atone for everything that he's done. The Spectre's forcing him to do things he doesn't want him to do. And vengeance. The whole thing with Black Hand happens. He tries to go to a baseball game with John and Guy just to kind of reconnect and talk to them so that they don't think that he's still the same crazy villain that he was when he died.
Mhm.
And people start magically trying to confess all their sins to Hal because the spirit of vengeance just kind of being in the presence of that, everybody starts going crazy and starts confessing sins and whatnot.
I mean, I would too.
I mean, it's the
Just
spirit of
crazy.
vengeance.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give away too much because I really want people to read that story because it does such a great job of re-examining the mythos and everything. They bring back Hal in the story and bring him back to being the main Green Lantern by retconning what exactly the yellow impurity is. So the yellow impurity, the weakness against yellow, isn't actually just a random weakness. As it turns out, the Guardians had originally imprisoned what is essentially a yellow fear demon.
It's the living embodiment of fear.
Yeah,
if you
it's the
will.
living embodiment of fear within the power battery. within the central
They
power
are.
battery.
Yeah, because they're guarding the universe. It's not like they're just,
Exactly.
these useless nothings, Paulo.
Yeah, exactly. So you come to find out that they did this, they imprisoned this before like well-known history, and Kyle finds this out. Like Kyle finds out that this is what the Guardians did, and that is why all the Green Lanterns were weak to yellow. So he comes to realize that Parallax is trying to come back. This creature, this yellow fear creature, still lives inside of Hal, and the Spectre is trying to like actually exercise the Parallax spirit out of Hal Jordan. But what's happening is Parallax is actually infecting the Spectre and making, and yeah, exactly. So if you think about it, this is the spirit of vengeance. That O is the oh my god moment.
Yeah. Like fear, literally the embodiment of the concept of fear is corrupting the right hand of God.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
It took me so long to figure this out. Because, in the old westerns, if you're a coward, you're considered yellow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, so one of the things, so that's actually something to, so we were going to touch on. So now we're wondering, you're like, oh, how did Hal Jordan become, what is the whole thing with Parallax and Hal Jordan? As it turns out, what happened was Parallax was imprisoned within the central power battery. Sinestro was also imprisoned within the central power battery. And Sinestro made contact and awoke Parallax. And Parallax starts to exercise his effects upon the core. Influence, exactly. He pretty much influences Hal Jordan. He starts to take little by little, make him doubt himself, make him fear his decisions.
And gets him more insecure. I want to say that he even gives, like, they even justify at the time, like Hal had like a bit of gray showing in his hair, like all of Hal's insecurities of getting older. With that, like, because like anybody even getting older themselves will probably just have that little voice in their head that's going, oh man, like I can't believe I have these gray hairs, I can't believe like I'm getting, I'm gaining weight, all that jazz.
My
But
wife
that's
found a
just
gray hair.
Parallax in his ear, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my wife found a gray hair the other day in my head. Terrified me.
Don't worry, Paulo, you're not getting older, it's just the Parallax fear demon.
Oh, thank goodness it's only that.
Yeah, I know. Thank God.
Thank God, it's just a giant yellow space bug. Like,
so we've come to find out that Hal is becoming like the influence of Parallax is affecting Hal, and the destruction of Coast City is like the snap. Like that's the thing that breaks him.
And that's what lets Parallax really infect it.
Yeah, and that's the reason that he goes on rampage to kill the entire Green Lantern Corps and to go to the central power battery. We come to find out, you think Sinestro's dead. It turns out Sinestro didn't die when he snapped his neck. The power of Parallax and the ring kept him alive, and he's been hiding all this time. So you find out that Sinestro was the one who spoke to Parallax. Sinestro's the one who started planning everything, and Sinestro wanted to destroy everything that Hal was, and he found Parallax to do it.
Gotcha.
So that not only that, but like, so because Parallax is now like free and able to roam, he starts to affect the last of the Green Lanterns that are still around. So Guy Gardner gets infected, Kilowog gets infected, John Stewart gets infected again, and they start attacking like members of the Justice League. They start attacking random, like they go haywire. And then on top of that, Coast City just fucking reappears out of nowhere.
That I forgot about that they never rebuilt Coast City out of like
No.
it was like a 9/11 never forget like memorial thing.
Exactly. Like Coast City was never rebuilt, and all of a sudden, because Parallax was affecting Hal Jordan still, and Hal Jordan was now had the power of the spirit of vengeance, fucking Coast City just fucking reappears. The whole city is just rebuilt.
It's just there.
Yep,
Yeah.
just there.
It's just there. It's just there. And because it was willed into existence, it's now there. Like there's actual infrastructure. Like people could move there if they so chose.
Yeah, the people didn't come back, but the city disappeared.
The city just reappeared, but the people just didn't come back. And so there's like this huge fight where the Spectre pretty much separates himself from Hal Jordan, and the Spectre's is like running away because he's scared of Parallax. Parallax is actually strong enough to affect the Spirit of Vengeance.
Right. And
S-
the Spirit of Vengeance has never known fear.
Exactly. That's something that they make a point of acknowledging is yellow is the color of fear. Fear is like, so what they start doing is now they start introducing this idea that emotions have certain colors associated with. So the color green is associated with the color, the emotion, not the emotion of willpower. Willpower isn't really emotion,
The
but
force of willpower.
yeah, the force of willpower. The fear itself is considered yellow, and the yellow fear demon is Parallax. It's the embodiment of fear in the universe, and Sinestro is using that as his own kind of source of power. That's where that's how he discovered the power to do with the yellow ring that he was wielding to fight Green Lantern all these years that he's been we find out that that's the reason that they can't affect yellow is because of the yellow impurity. What they do mention also is that the fact that Kyle Rayner can do it, can overcome that yellow impurity, is because Kyle knows fear. And as opposed to overcoming it, he understands it and he's able to actually defeat it. As
Yes.
opposed to just being just like, oh, I can't affect it, I'm just gonna keep going and muscle past it. No,
And I gotta interrupt you just to show how beautifully Jeff Johns interwove just little bits of history. There was a scene in Justice League. I believe this issue was written by Mark Waid. I could be wrong about that. But they interact with Dream of the Endless, which is Sandman, part of DC's Vertigo line. And Dream, he's part of the story, but at some point he tells Kyle, like, don't doubt yourself. You will surpass Hal Jordan. And he's like, how am I supposed to surpass Hal Jordan? Like, he's the greatest Green Lantern there ever was. Like, what do I understand that Hal Jordan doesn't? And Dream just responds, you understand fear. You will surpass him. And that took like years before the storyline.
Oh yeah, because that's
Oh,
also
wow.
prior to all the Ion stuff. That's prior
Mhm.
to him reigniting resurrecting the Guardians.
Yeah,
that was something that they were kind of planning for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that man, Sandman is something I've actually read on Doug's recommendation, and I absolutely loved it. I don't think I got us that far to Kyle, but yeah, Sandman.
Oh, it happens in Justice League.
Oh.
Not in the Sandman, but everybody should read Sandman. It's actually my favorite series of all time. But
Sandman.
Yeah, I loved it.
moving on.
Sandman's I was gonna say Neil Gaiman stories.
Yeah.
The art is always really good.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've actually not read it. I should. I
Should.
borrowed it from Matt, and
Oh, you have it.
yes, I have it.
All right. Anyway,
You know.
Paulo, we continue. I had to throw that in there to show
No.
how beautifully Jeff Johns had interwoven all of these little bits of lore and history and things that didn't make sense, and suddenly made all of it make sense.
And Doug, it kind of encapsulated perfectly. He took bits and pieces of the entirety of the stories that were told in the past and built an entire mythology around this character and this color green.
Mhm.
I don't want to ruin everything in the story because I highly recommend read Green Lantern Rebirth. It's one of the best stories that lead into even greater stories. Like it introduces
Sinestro.
the idea. Yeah, Sinestro. Like it fixes Sinestro to not be just some weird dolly looking motherfucker to actually being a true villain in the greater sense of the DC universe. It leads into the build up for Green Lantern. It goes deeper into the mythos, and then we get introduced to probably this is the story that got me back into comics. It's a story called The Sinestro Corps. All of a sudden, Sinestro figures out I have Parallax. I'm gonna make my own corps, and he makes a fear wielding ring slinging evildoers, and they take the war to the Green Lanterns. And it's the first time that the Green Lanterns have, aside from the battle with Parallax, it's the first time. This is like a brand new corps practically at this point.
It is.
Everyone's only been ring slinging for maybe a couple of years. Everyone has no idea what they're doing. Kyle is kind of in this dark place because his mother just died. John and Guy are doing their thing. Hal has been doing his thing. The universe is recovering from the Infinite Crisis crossover, where at this point they have the Owens have a jail cell where they're keeping a crazy Superboy from an alternate universe that actually believes himself to be the most powerful being in the universe.
Well, he was.
Yeah. Okay. Put it this way. To give you a TLDR, a too long did not read, a long story short, the Spark Notes version of Superboy Prime. You know that bloody swath we were talking about, where Hal Jordan just ran through the Green Lantern Corps.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that on a universal scale.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah,
Superboy Prime went 1-on-1 with like half the Green Lantern Corps and just murdered them because they were in his way. Like they were it was inconsequential. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he
regular
flew
Superman
through them.
Doesn't even hold a candle to the level of power that he did. I remember one time when Superboy Prime fought Black Adam, and Black Adam like hits him as hard as he can. Black Adam is a character as powerful as Superman, and Superboy just goes, "That kind of tickled. I thought you were supposed to be one of the strong ones."
Well, it's not even that he hits him full force. He hits him with the magical lightning. He yells Shazam and hits him with the lightning, and he goes, "Oh, magic!" He's like, "That's tick." He's like, "That kind of tickles."
Superboy Prime, it's not affected by magic. Like
I was about to say, because I thought that was like one of Superman's big things.
It is,
It is.
but not Superboy
Prime.
Prime.
Next
Oh,
level.
boy.
Yeah, so
Superboy Prime is so strong that he brought a character that had been dead for like 20 years back to life by punching the fabric of time.
Oh boy,
Damn.
Edge triggered.
Oh no.
That's actually how I've always summed up that story.
I'm not. We're not gonna get into that. Like,
yeah,
because dude, oh god, I'm gonna just start yelling if that's the case. Like,
I want to do an episode with Ed just yelling about Superboy Prime.
We'll save that for another day.
Yes.
But no. So just to kind of wrap up, like what this brings about, and it will probably lead into future episodes. That's just the beginning of what Jeff John does to the Green Lantern mythology. Now we have a fight between two, like, what are considered the greatest Green Lanterns fighting each other along with the core members that they follow. He brings back Ion. He introduces, he introduces the entirety of what's called the emotional color spectrum shortly thereafter. Because he reaches back into the prophecies that were like they're literally 2 panels or 3 panels that were written by Alan Moore when he wrote a couple of issues of Green Lantern.
Did he even write a couple?
Where they
I thought it was just like an annual he wrote. It was just some kind of like
a one shot. Like it wasn't even that big a thing.
It was just some throwaway thing that like nobody read in the 80s. Like
it was 2 panels that were written by Alan Moore where he calls into this prophecy that these what are called the inversions. They're these prisoners that are locked away on a planet in a sector that the Guardians have hidden away because no one's supposed to know about them. They lock them away, and they give these weird prophecies because the sector was destroyed by a police force that the Guardians had created.
They
before the Green Lanterns.
Yes.
Yeah, the Manhunters.
The Manhunters. And because there was no emotion to them, thought process to them aside from what they from what their prime directive was, which was to bring order, they decimated an entire sector. They destroyed it. They killed everybody, and there's only 5 survivors.
Their prime directive was no one escapes the Manhunters. They took that literally. That like no one will escape us by any means necessary.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was probably one of the more incredible storylines that Jeff Johns wrote, as he just reached in and these random things and just started piecing them together. I love everything that he did with that, and it's probably by far some of the best comic book reading that I've done. And it like I said, it's a story of redemption. It's a story of revenge. It's a story of just finding oneself. Because if there's one thing that we can learn from the Lanterns, it's that they all have flaws, they all have weaknesses, but as long as they figured out who they were, they're always going to be able to overcome anything that's thrown at them.
So with that being said, do you think we missed anything? You want to tell us what was
well,
wrong?
Anything that we missed, I think we could come back with when we deal with the whole emotional spectrum.
How does he fly?
He wills himself.
Literally.
That's the first thing that came to my mind. Like, wait, they never explained that part. Yeah, just give me a one sentence explanation, and I think we'll wrap it up then.
He pretty much wills himself to be able to fly, just like he wills himself to do anything else that he can do.
And flying is scary, so the Sinestro Corps can fly too.
Blow my mind, Doug.
Good enough for me, guys. All right, all. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, folks.
All right. Those guys aren't around to tell me no, so I'm going to do this in their Kermit voice.
If you have a question, a topic you would like us to cover, or simply wish to tell us all the facts we screwed up, feel free to email us at laymansguidetothemultiverse@gmail.com. Also, feel free to visit our website at laymansguidetothemultiverse.com.
All right, enough of the Kermit voice. Our intro music is Dance Rocket, off the album Descent of the Goober Monster by Jesse Spillane, and is licensed under an Attribution 4.0 International CC by 4.0 license off freemusicarchive.org. Our technical difficulty music was the Dvorak Polka by Kevin McLeod of Incomtech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license, http://creativecommons.org/licenses/by/3.0. Our intermission music was Crinoline Dreams, also by Kevin McLeod off Incomtech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license, creativecommons.org, licenses by 3.0. And our outro music is Miami Nights Extended Theme by Kevin McLeod off Incomtech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license, http://creativecommons.org/licenses/by/3.0. Have a good night, everyone.